So the way that I'm getting ready to review this movie is probably not that much better than how I reviewed movies like Share or Die or The Haunting of Julia Fields. Both of those movies had starred Callie Grayson. Those are her only two movies, and I guess you could say one of them was somewhat, arguably, slightly better than the other. This movie right here doesn't have anything to do with her, but the way I'm getting ready to review it, because I'll tell you right now, um, this movie was a little bit confusing, and I thought it, for the most part, it was boring and dull, not that enjoyable. There might have been some parts to the movie that were a little kind of suspenseful, not that thrilling in my opinion. Now, this movie just came out a week ago, so the box office numbers that I'm getting ready to give you are this is only as of the recording of this video. The budget on the film is 17 million. The box office is at almost 13 million, so they're about 4 million under. And again, it's only been out a week, so in the next month, month and a half, that box office could be at 30 million for all we know. It could be at 40 million. I don't know. So when I walked out the theater, I thought, yeah, that probably wasn't worth it. And I saw that Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91%, and I said, they gave I Know What You Did Last Summer a 41%. And it's like, forget them. And now Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 90%. So as I always say, numbers could change at any moment. So Internet Movie Database gave it a 71%. Metacritic gave it a 75. And Google users gave it 62 to 82. So that's kind of a wider gap, but I mean, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, as I've always said, those are the two toughest sources. Those are the two toughest ones. So a lot of things that you think would be really good, they'll give it like really bad numbers. But for them, if they give something at least a 65 to 70%, that's good for them. Um, if and usually it's kind of like they gave it a really high score and I give it a really low score. So this is kind of like in reverse. But normally, if I and a lot of people watch a movie or a show and we think it's really good, we'll give it at least an 80%. Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic give it about a 50, 55%, maybe 60 at most. It's kind of like they're working against us. I don't know how they do that, but to be fair, every person who watches these shows and movies, I mean, every opinion is different, to each his own. So, years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads when they move to the countryside, abandoning all that is familiar in their lives except each other. With tensions already flaring, a nightmarish encounter with a mysterious unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. And by flesh, they mean that literally. So, the film was directed by Michael Shanks. Uh, Tim and Millie are the main characters. They're played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And by the way, interestingly enough, and I literally just learned this just a couple minutes before I recorded this video, they're actually married in real life. Now, some of you are probably thinking, oh, we already knew that. I didn't. I literally just learned that this is. I'm like, okay, well, that's nice. I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, married couples and people who are in relationships, they've done projects together. I mean, you had Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie do Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You had David Arquette and Courtney Cox, they did the Scream movies. So, I mean, yeah, that happens. But I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know they were actually together. So, here's how Comments Media breaks it down. Comments Media gave it a 60%. And between the kids and the adults who commented on it, which, by the way, there was only one adult that commented and one kid that commented, and they both gave it a 100% each. The kid said 100%, the parent said 100%, but Comments Media said 60. So you don't see that too often, but again, like I said, every opinion to each his own. So, where's it at? Here we go. When Millie gets her dream job at an elementary school a few hours outside of the city, her musician boyfriend Tim supportively, although reluctantly, moves with her to the country. They start, okay, there we go. They start a new life in the small town, but when they encounter a supernatural force, it draws them together in ways they didn't expect. In ways that I didn't expect either, and that a lot of people that were in that theater room, they didn't expect either. At least I don't think they expected it. Now, I'm gonna get into a couple more of this, and then again, what I'm getting ready to describe to you, spoiler alert, um, it's gonna sound so, it's gonna sound childish and completely unreal, and it's look, just wait for it, just wait. So, Alison Brie and Dave Franco's demonstration of forming a more perfect union is fantastically frightening. But for anyone who's squeamish about body horror, know that Together is more intense than this one film called The Substance, although not full Human Centipede. If you didn't see Human Centipede or you're not familiar with it, I'm not going to describe that here on camera. I'm not going to describe that here on my show. Look it up. And by the way, I would say you're not missing much. Um, Suffice it to say that director Michael Shanks puts his long history in special effects to use in crafting sequences you that dare you not to look away. That said, the story has gaping holes that leave so many questions unanswered it becomes a distraction. And while the film drives home a message about commitment, it's actually unclear whether it's promoting marriage or condemning it. That's a good point right there, too. I didn't even think about that. Then again, the ambiguity sets the stage for either both a prequel to Get Her and a sequel to Gether, like the number two in Gether. Um, I'm probably not interested in watching them. So strap down and prepare for transformative entertainment that may leave you emotionally spliced. Now, families can talk about what this film is saying about long lasting partnerships. Who are the aspirational, committed couples in your life, and what do you see in them that makes their relationships successful? What is body horror? Well, Human Centipede. Why do you think it's a specific genre? How does this movie fit into the genre guidelines? How is sex used as a plot point? Do you find the nudity to be gratuitous or necessary to the story? Could the story be told as well without these elements? Are drinking and drug use glamorized here? Why or why not? Are there realistic consequences? I think most reasonable minded people, there's realistic consequences to too much drinking or too much drug use. Why does that matter? Stars Dave Franco and Alison Brie are married in real life. Do you think that their real life relationships? Do you think that real life relationships help tell us a better story, a story better? How can that help or hinder a production? Well, um, here's the thing. So, spoiler alert. And again, I don't know how else to describe this, but so basically, the point of the movie is that they had ventured into the woods and they fell down into this underground bunker, like kind of like a sewage like area. Um, and I guess there's like a curse where anybody who's underneath there, there's a couple, whatever couple goes underneath it, they're cursed into being like literally physically stuck together. And they start, you know, two people come together physically as one. And and yeah, and by the end of the movie, they merged as one that they were an androgynous human being, somebody that looks like both a guy and a girl. And I thought that walking out of that theater, I said, you know what? I really should have just seen Fantastic Four, which I'm probably going to next weekend. Um, and by the way, I'm going to go through the Fantastic Four movies as well. I'm going to give my reviews of them. Um, I mean, like I said, there's not much else to say about this. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Dave Franco's a good actor. I like Alison Brie. She's a great actress. She did great as Rebecca Walters in Scream 4. But this one right here, I can't say that it's it. It's like, no, this movie wasn't it. If I had to rate it on 1 to 10, I would say, I'm sorry, I would have to say, I'm really thinking a 4, 4.5. There's a part of me that wants to say 5 at best, but you know me, if it gets at least a 7, it's good. 6 to 6.5 is like kind of all right, not really rewatchable. I can tell you right now, this is not something I plan on rewatching in the future. And in my opinion, I think this is a. I'm not even usually a person to sit here and say, "Oh, these movies are forgettable," or "This show is forgettable," or I can relate, I can recognize the fact that other people think that this stuff is forgettable. But in this particular case, I have to say, I'm probably not going to remember this in the next 5 years, probably not even the next 2 or 3 years. So, but again, that's just my opinion. If you watch the movie, you might feel differently. I would say that I'm always gonna say, listen, I think every movie deserves a theatrical chance. So, but I mean, if you are gonna wait till this movie comes on streaming, I'd say I don't blame you. Watch it for free. I personally don't think it's worth the money for it, but again, you might look at it and you might have a totally different opinion. Some of you might watch this movie and come out thinking, oh, this was a perfect 10. Some of your opinions might be worse than mine. You might say this is a 0 or 1 at best. Or you might have the same opinion as me and just say, hey, yeah, you were right. This really wasn't worth it. But I don't know. You watch the movie, it's still in theaters. It's probably going to be in theaters for the next 2, maybe 2.5 weeks. Um, and I don't see this movie being on the top 10, the list of top 10 movies of 2025. I really don't see that. I don't even think it would come close to even what people are saying about Superman or. But then again, to be fair, I can't say that. You can't compare the two films. I mean, this is suspense drama and the other superhero DC. I mean, I get it, but like I said, check out the movie yourself if you want to, and tell me what you think. If you did see the movie, tell me what you think about it. If you're watching this on Facebook, you know the drill. The link to my YouTube is in the comment section. Give me a subscription. Help me out. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're watching it on YouTube, the links to my other socials are in my About section, as with Facebook. So Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, it's all there. So that's all I have for now. I got a lot more movies coming up. Stay tuned.